The metal floor was cold against Han Murray's cheek. She had been lying there for hours, maybe days. Time meant nothing in this dark place. Prison ship Dreadfang never stopped moving through space, and neither did the pain in her body. Cell was small, very small. She could touch both walls if she spread her arms wide. The ceiling was so low that she could not stand up straight. This was done on purpose. Helene wanted her to feel small and weak, but Murray was not weak. She sat up slowly and looked at her hands. They were covered in cuts and bruises. Her clothes were torn and dirty. She'd been wearing her best diplomatic uniform when they captured her 3 weeks ago. Now it looked like rags. The door to her cell made a loud noise. It was opening. Murray closed her eyes and took a deep breath. She knew what was coming. Heavy footsteps walked into her cell. The sound was different from human footsteps. These feet had claws that clicked on the metal floor. The smell came next, a mix of rotting meat and old leather. It was the smell of the Corvani. "Wake up, human," said a deep voice. The words were in her language, but the accent was terrible. Like rocks grinding together. Murray opened her eyes and looked up. Commander Vextar stood in front of her. He was tall, very tall. His skin was green and covered in scales like a snake. His eyes were yellow with black lines down the middle. When he smiled, she could see rows of sharp teeth. Behind him stood 2 guards. They were smaller than Vextar, but still much bigger than Murray. They carried weapons that hummed with electricity. "Good morning, little diplomat," Vextar said. He always called her that. "Little diplomat, are you ready to talk today?" Murray said nothing. She had learned that silence made him angry, and when he was angry, he made mistakes. Vextar bent down so his face was close to hers. His breath smelled like dead fish. "You know your people are planning something? We found the coded messages in your ship." "Where are the human fleets hiding? I don't know," Murray said. It was the truth. She was a scientist, not a soldier. The aliens did not believe her. "Lies," Vextar hissed. He grabbed her arm and pulled her up. His claws dug into her skin. "You were on that peace ship for a reason. Important humans don't travel alone." Dragged her out of the cell and down a long hallway. The walls were covered in strange writing that glowed red in the dark. Their cells lined both sides of the hallway. Most were empty, but she could hear crying from some of them. Other humans were trapped here too. They reached a room at the end of the hallway. It was bigger than her cell, but not by much. In the center was a metal chair with straps and wires. Murray had been in this chair many times before. The guards pushed her into the chair and tied her down with the straps. The wires touched her skin and sent small shocks through her body. Not enough to kill her, but enough to hurt. "Let's try again," Vextar said. He picked up a small device from a table. It looked like a metal stick with buttons on it. "Where are the human military bases?" "I told you," Murray said through gritted teeth. "I'm a scientist. I study plants and animals. I don't know about military things." Vextar pressed a button on the device. Pain shot through Murray's body like fire. She bit her lip to keep from screaming. "Answer," he said. "Let's try a different question. What was the real purpose of your peace mission?" Murray took a shaky breath. To talk about peace? To find a way for our people to live without fighting?" "Stupid human," Vextar laughed. It sounded like rocks falling down a hill. "Peace is for the weak. The strong take what they want. Your people are weak, so we will take everything from you." He pressed the button again. This time, the pain lasted longer. Murray's vision went white for a moment. When it cleared, she could taste blood in her mouth. "The Corvani Empire has been watching your species for 50 years, Vextar continued. "You are soft. You care too much about others. You waste time on art and music and love. These things make you weak. They make us human," Murray whispered. "And that is why you will lose," Vextar said. "Your ships are slow. Your weapons are weak. Your soldiers run away when things get hard. We have crushed stronger races than yours." For 3 hours, the questions continued. Where were the human fleets? What new weapons did they have? Who were the military leaders? How many ships could humanity build in a year? Murray answered the same way every time. I don't know. Sometimes it was the truth. Sometimes it was a lie. But she never gave them anything useful. As the session went on, Vexstar became more angry. His yellow eyes glowed brighter. His claws scraped against the metal table. The guards stepped back, afraid of their commander's rage. You are wasting my time, human, Vexstar snarled. We have ways to make you talk. We can keep you alive for months while we slowly cut pieces off your body. We can show you what we do to other prisoners. We can make you watch while we destroy human colonies. Murray looked up at him with tired eyes. Do whatever you want. I won't help you hurt innocent people. Innocent? Vexstar laughed again. There are no innocent humans. You are all a disease that needs to be removed from the galaxy. When we are done with you, we will visit every human world. We will kill everyone, men, women, children. No one will remember that humans ever existed. You're wrong, Murray said quietly. Someone will come for me, and when they do, you'll wish you had never heard of humanity. This made Vexstar very angry. He grabbed Murray by the throat and lifted her up. The straps cut into her arms and legs. No one is coming for you, he roared. Your peace ship was destroyed. Everyone thinks you are dead. We're alone, little diplomat, completely alone. But Murray smiled through the pain. You don't understand. I'm not alone. I'm never alone. My husband knows I'm alive. He can feel it. And when he finds out what you've done to me... ... She looked directly into Vexstar's yellow eyes. You should have killed me quickly. The commander's grip tightened around her throat. What makes you think your husband is any different from the rest of your weak species? Because, Murray said with her last breath before everything went black, he loves me. When she woke up, she was back in her cell. But something had changed. The guards whispered to each other in their own language. They kept looking at her with something that might have been fear. Days passed. The questioning continued, but it was different now. Vexstar seemed distracted. He asked the same questions over and over, but his heart wasn't in it. Sometimes he would stop in the middle of a sentence and listen to voices coming from the hallway. Murray could not understand the alien language, but she recognized the tone. It was the sound of fear. Something was happening out there in space, and the Corvani were scared. On her last day alive, Vexstar came to her cell alone. No guards, no weapons. He looked tired and old. Your people surprised us, he said quietly. We thought we knew everything about humans. We were wrong. What do you mean? Murray asked. Ships, Vexstar said. 3 of our patrol fleets have gone silent. Just ... gone. No distress calls. No debris. One day they were there. The next day they weren't. Murray felt her heart skip a beat. Maybe they had accidents? No. Vexstar shook his head. We found one of the ships. Everyone on board was dead, but the ship was undamaged. Someone got inside and killed 800 trained warriors without damaging a single wall or door. He stared at her with those yellow eyes. What kind of human can do that? Murray said nothing, but inside her heart was singing. She knew. She had always known. Vexstar stepped closer to her cell. Tell me about your husband. What about him? Murray asked. What does he do? What kind of work? He's a farmer, Murray said. It was mostly true. He grows vegetables and rice on New Sol Colony. A farmer, Vexstar repeated. And do you think this farmer is coming to save you? I know he is, Murray said. The commander stared at her for a long time. Then he pulled out his weapon, a small gun that shot bolts of plasma hot enough to melt metal. Then I will make sure he has nothing to save, Vexstar said. Murray looked up at him and smiled. Her last words were, You have no idea what you've just done. The plasma bolt hit her in the chest. Han Murray, scientist and diplomat, wife and friend, died instantly, but across the galaxy. On a small farm on New Sol, Kong Temin felt his wife die, and something that had been sleeping inside him for 5 years woke up and began to hunt. The morning sun was warm on New Sol Colony. Kong Temin stood in his rice field, watching the green plants grow in neat rows. Water moved slowly between the plants, making soft sounds. Birds sang in the trees at the edge of his farm. This was his life now. Simple, Quiet. Safe. He wiped sweat from his face with a dirty cloth and looked at his hands. They were rough from farm work. Soil was under his fingernails. These hands had planted seeds and pulled weeds for 5 years, but they remembered other things. Temin pushed those memories away, that life was over. He was just a farmer now. A man who grew food and lived peacefully with his wife. When Mireille came home from her diplomatic mission, they would eat dinner together and talk about normal things. She would tell him about the aliens she met. He would tell her about the rice harvest. When Mireille came home, he felt something cold touch his heart. It had been there for 3 days now, a feeling that something was wrong. He tried to ignore it, but it kept getting stronger. The sound of engines broke the peaceful morning. Taman looked up to see a military transport ship coming down from the sky. It was big and gray, with weapons on its sides. The ship landed in the field next to his house, crushing some of his vegetables. Soldiers in green uniforms got out of the ship. Their faces were serious. At the front walked an officer with silver bars on his collar. Taman knew those bars meant the man was important. The officer walked up to Taman. "Yukong Taman?" "Yes," Taman said. His voice was calm, but inside he felt that cold feeling growing stronger. "I'm Captain Lee Junho, Human Defense Fleet," the officer said. "I need to speak with you." Taman nodded and put down his farming tools. They walked to his house, a small building made of wood and stone. Inside, everything was clean and simple. Pictures of Taman and Mireille hung on the walls. They were smiling. In all the pictures, Captain Lee sat down at the kitchen table. Taman poured tea into 2 cups and sat across from him. Neither man spoke for a moment. "Mr. Kang," Captain Lee finally said, "I have bad news about your wife." The cold feeling in Taman's chest turned to ice. "What happened?" "The diplomatic ship she was traveling on was attacked 3 weeks ago. We found pieces of the ship floating in space. There were no survivors." Captain Lee pulled out a tablet and showed Taman pictures of broken metal and burned debris. "I'm sorry, Mr. Kang. Your wife is dead." Taman stared at the pictures. His hands did not shake. His face did not change. But something inside him broke. "With a sound like glass?" "When?" he asked. "3 weeks ago. We've been searching for survivors, but—" Captain Lee shook his head. "The explosion was very big. No one could have lived through it." "I see," Taman said quietly. Captain Lee watched him carefully. Most people cried when they heard news like this. They got angry, or fell down, or screamed. But this man just sat there, drinking his tea. "Mr. Kong, are you all right?" Taman looked up at him. Captain Lee felt something cold run down his back. The man's eyes had changed. Before they had been warm and kind. Now they were empty, like looking into deep, dark water. "No," Taman said. "I don't think I am." He stood up and walked to a closet in the corner of the room. Captain Lee heard him moving things around. When Taman came back, he was carrying a small metal box. "Captain Lee," Taman said as he set the box on the table. "I need you to take me to the nearest military base, Mr. Kang. I understand you're upset, but civilians can't just—" "I'm not a civilian," Taman said. He opened the metal box. Inside was a set of dog tags on a chain. Next to them was a small medal with a skull on it. At the bottom of the box was a card with Taman's picture on it. But the name on the card was different. Captain Lee picked up the card and read it. His face went white. "This can't be real." "Call Fleet Command," Taman said. "Ask them about classification level Omega Black. File name, Reaper." Captain Lee's hands were shaking as he took out his communication device. He spoke in a low voice for several minutes. Taman could not hear what was being said, but he could see the captain's face getting whiter and whiter. Finally, "Captain," Lee ended the call. He looked at Taman like he was seeing a ghost. They want to talk to you," he said. Taman took the device. "This is Reaper." The voice on the other end was Admiral Park Sumen, the head of all human military forces. "Agent Reaper, we thought you were dead." "I was," Taman said. "I've been dead for 5 years. But someone killed my wife, and now I'm awake again." There was silence on the other end. "Then, what do you need? A ship?" "Small and fast. Weapons, and access to all intelligence reports about the attack on the diplomatic vessel. Agent Reaper, we can't just, Admiral Taman said, and his voice was very quiet. Someone killed Murray. They didn't just kill a diplomat. They killed the only thing in this universe that kept me human. Do you understand what that means? Another long silence. Yes, sir. We'll have everything ready for you. Captain Lee was staring at Taman with wide eyes. Who are you? Taman put the dog tags around his neck. The metal felt cold against his skin. 5 years ago, I was humanity's weapon, the thing we sent when we needed our enemies to disappear. I killed so many people that other species made up stories about me, called me the Reaper because everywhere I went, death followed. He walked to the window and looked out at his farm. The rice was growing well. In a few months, it would be ready to harvest. But he would not be here to see it. I met Myrée at a medical station after the Thackerone War, he continued. She was treating wounded soldiers. I was broken, damaged. I had done terrible things and I couldn't sleep at night. She helped me remember what it felt like to be human. Captain Lee said nothing. He was beginning to understand. We fell in love, Taman said. She made me want to be better. So I quit being the Reaper and became a farmer. For 5 years, I grew plants instead of killing people. I was happy. Turned around, and Captain Lee saw something in his eyes that made him want to run away. But happy men don't win wars, Taman said. And someone just declared war on me. An hour later, they were in the military transport ship, flying toward the nearest base. Captain Lee sat across from Taman, trying not to stare at him. Looked the same as before, just a simple farmer in dirty clothes. But now that Lee knew who he really was, everything was different. Sir, Lee said quietly, what exactly did you do during the war? Taman was cleaning his dog tags with a cloth. Things that needed to be done. Things that no one else could do. Like what? Taman looked at him. Have you ever heard of the Battle of Kepler Station? Of course. The Thackerone had taken the station with 10,000 soldiers. Our fleet was going to destroy the whole station to stop them from using it. But then Lee stopped talking. But then all 10,000 enemy soldiers died in one night, Taman finished. No explosions, no battle. They just died. One by one. The official report said it was a computer virus that turned their own security systems against them. Was it? Lee asked. No, Taman said. It was me. I went in alone and killed them all. It took me 6 hours. Captain Lee felt sick. 10,000 people in 6 hours? They weren't people, Taman said. They were invaders who had killed human civilians. But yes, 10,000 in 6 hours was my record. The transport ship landed at Stellar Base 7. As they walked off the ship, Lee saw soldiers everywhere. But something was wrong. They were all standing very straight and quiet. Their faces were serious. Word travels fast in the military, Taman said. They know I'm here. An older man in an admiral's uniform walked up to them. This was Admiral Park Soo-min. He was a big man with gray hair and scars on his face from old battles. Agent Reaper, he said. It's been a long time. Hello, Admiral, Taman said. Thank you for coming personally. I had to see for myself, Admiral Park said. When we got your call, half my staff thought it was a joke. The Reaper died 5 years ago. Everyone knows that. I did die, Taman said. But I'm back now. They walked through the base toward the hangars. Soldiers stopped what they were doing to watch them pass. Some were old enough to remember the stories. Others just felt something dangerous walking by. I prepared everything you asked for, Admiral Park said. The ship is called Silent Death. It's our newest stealth vessel, completely invisible to enemy sensors. Armed with the latest weapons, good, Taman said. I also have the intelligence reports about your wife's mission. The attack happened in the Corvus system. We think it was the Corvani Empire. Taman stopped walking. The Corvani. Yes, they've been expanding their territory, attacking peaceful ships. Your wife was trying to negotiate a peace treaty with them. Something changed in Taman's face. Admiral Park had seen that look before, during the war. It was the look of a predator choosing its prey. How many ships do they have? Taman asked. In that sector? Maybe 50. But Agent Reaper, you can't take on an entire fleet by yourself. Even you have limits. Timon smiled, but it was not a happy smile. Admiral, you're thinking like a soldier. Soldiers fight fleets with fleets, but I'm not a soldier anymore. Then what are you? I'm a husband who just lost his wife, Taman said. That makes me the most dangerous thing in the galaxy. They reached the hangar where the silent death waited. It was a small ship, black as space itself. It looked like it was built for one purpose, to kill. As Taman walked toward the ship, Admiral Park called after him. Agent Reaper, what should I tell Fleet Command? What are your orders? Taman stopped at the ship's entrance. When he turned around, the Admiral saw something in his eyes that made him remember why other species told their children scary stories about humans. Tell them the Reaper is hunting, Taman said. And when I'm done, there won't be enough left of the Corvani fleet to fill a cargo container. The ship's engine started with a low hum that seemed to make the entire hangar shake. As the silent death lifted off and disappeared into space, Admiral Park realized he felt sorry for the aliens. They had no idea what was coming for them. Dr. Yunhana was working late in her medical lab when the alarm went off. Red lights flashed on the walls of Stellar Base 7. A voice came over the speakers. All senior officers report to the command center immediately. Hannah took off her white coat and ran through the halls. She had been Murray's best friend since medical school. When she heard about the attack on the diplomatic ship, something inside her had broken too. The command center was full of people in uniforms. Admiral Park stood at the front, looking at a big screen that showed a map of space. Red dots marked where ships were located. Out. What's happening? Hannah asked Captain Lee, who was standing near the door. It's him, Lee said quietly. The Reaper. He's started hunting. On the screen, Admiral Park pointed to an area of space near the Corva system. 3 hours ago, Corvani Patrol Fleet Delta stopped responding to radio calls. We sent a scout ship to investigate. He pressed a button and pictures appeared on the screen. It showed a Corvani warship floating in space. Its lights were off. No movement, no life signs. The ship is completely intact, Admiral Park continued. No damage to the hull, no signs of battle. But all 400 crew members are dead. How? Asked an officer. We don't know. Our people are still investigating. But this matches the pattern from the other attacks. Hannah stepped forward. Other attacks? Admiral Park looked at her. Dr. Yoon? I didn't expect to see you here. Murray was my friend, Hannah said. If someone is hunting her killers, I want to know about it. The Admiral nodded. In the past week, 6 Corvani ships have gone silent. We find them, they're all the same. No damage to the ships, but everyone inside is dead. The Corvani are calling it the Ghost Death. He pressed another button. Audio played from the speakers. It was a Corvani voice speaking in broken human language. Help us. Something is hunting our ships. It moves like shadow, kills without sound. The Ghost Death comes for us all. They're scared, Captain Lee said with surprise. I've never heard Corvani sound scared before. It should be, Admiral Park said, grimly. Because we know who's hunting them, and the Reaper is just getting started. Far away in space, the silent death floated like a piece of darkness between the stars. Inside the small ship, Taman sat in the pilot's chair, studying data on his screens. He had been hunting for 1 week. 6 ships destroyed, over 2,000 enemy soldiers dead. But he was not satisfied. These were just patrol ships. He needed to find the main fleet. He needed to find Commander Vexstar. The ship's computer made a soft beeping sound. Incoming transmission detected it, said in a female voice. Taman pressed a button. Dr. Hannah's face appeared on his screen. She looked tired and worried. Hello? Taman, she said. Hannah, his voice was flat. Empty. No, you shouldn't be contacting me. I heard what you're doing out there. The whole fleet is talking about it. They're calling you a ghost. Good. Fear makes enemies stupid. Hannah leaned closer. To her camera, Taman, I know you're hurting. Loved my Ray too. But this isn't what she would have wanted. Ray is dead, Taman said. What she wants doesn't matter anymore. It matters to me. and it should matter to you. Hannah's voice was strong now. She wouldn't want you to become a monster again. Was always a monster, Hannah. Murray just helped me pretend I wasn't. That's not true. You changed. You became better. You became human. Temmin was quiet for a long moment. When he spoke again, his voice was very soft. Do you know what they did to her? Tem? They tortured her for 3 weeks. Asked her questions about military secrets, but she was just a scientist. She didn't know anything, but they kept hurting her anyway. Hannah felt tears in her eyes. At the end, she told them someone would come for her. She believed in me, Hannah. Even when they were killing her, she believed I would save her. His voice cracked just a little, but I didn't. I was growing rice. While my wife was dying, you didn't know, Hannah said. No one knew she was alive. I should have known. I should have felt it. We were married for 8 years. I should have known. The screen went quiet. Hannah could see pain in Taemin's eyes, but also something else. Something cold and dangerous. I can't bring her back, he said finally. But I can make sure the people who killed her pay for what they did. And then what? After you kill them all, what happens to you? Taemin didn't answer. He ended the call. But Hannah was not giving up. She walked to Admiral Park's office and knocked on the door. Come in, the Admiral said. Hey, sir, I want to. Request permission to join Agent Reaper's mission. Admiral Park looked up from his desk with surprise. Dr. Yoon, that's not possible. The Reaper works alone. He always has. Not always, Hannah said. During the war, he had a support team, medical staff, intelligence officers, supply specialists. He only started working alone after the Battle of Kepler Station. That was different. This is personal. Which is exactly why he needs someone with him, Hannah said. Sir, I've known Taemin for 10 years. I helped him recover after the war. I've seen what happens when he loses himself to the killing, Admiral. Park rubbed his tired eyes. What are you suggesting? Let me go with him. Can't help treat his injuries, maintain his equipment, and ... double quotes, and maybe keep him from forgetting who he used to be.
Dr. Yoon.
The Reaper is the most dangerous. Human alive. When he's hunting, he doesn't see friends or allies. He only sees targets and obstacles. Then I'll make sure I'm not an obstacle, Hannah said firmly. 2 hours later, Hannah was in a small transport ship, flying through space toward Taemin's last known location. She had medical supplies, food, and equipment that might help him. She found the silent death hiding behind a small moon. When she docked with his ship, Taemin was waiting for her in the airlock. He was wearing black combat armor now. His face was painted with dark stripes to hide him in shadows. Go home, Hannah, he said. She replied, pushing past him into his ship. Murray made me promise to take care of you. Not breaking that promise now. I don't need taking care of. Yes, you do. She looked around the ship. It was very clean and organized, but there was no food anywhere, no personal items. Nothing that showed a human lived here. When did you last eat? I don't remember. When did you last sleep? Sleep is a waste of time. Anna shook her head. You're running yourself into the ground. How do you expect to fight effectively if you're starving and exhausted? I've done more with less. That was during the war. Done. You were younger then, and you had a reason to come home alive. She looked at him sadly. What's your reason now? Taemin didn't answer. He walked to the pilot's chair and started checking his instruments. I found something, he said, changing the subject. Intelligence reports show a large Corvani fleet gathering in the Vex system. 15 ships, including a command vessel called the Iron Claw. That's too many, Hannah said. Even for you. Not going to fight them all at once, Taemin said. I'm going to pick them off one by one. Make them afraid. Make them make mistakes. He showed her a star map on his screen. Red dots marked enemy ship positions. The Iron Claw is their flagship. That's where I'll find the commander who killed Murray. But first, I need to thin out his escort ships. How Taemin smiled, but it was not a nice smile. It's the same way a hunter kills a pack of wolves. You separate them from the group and take them down where no one can hear them scream. Over the next 3 days, Hannah watched Taemin work. It was like watching a master artist create a terrible painting. Every move was planned. Every attack was perfect. He would find a Corvani ship that had separated from the main fleet. Maybe it was on patrol, or carrying supplies, or just unlucky. The silent death would approach, invisible and silent. Taman would dock with the enemy ship and go inside alone. Hannah never saw what he did in there, but 20 minutes later, he would come back, covered in alien blood. Behind him, another ship full of dead enemies would drift in space. The Corvani started sending distress calls. They begged their command for help. They reported a shadow killer that could walk through walls and disappear like smoke. Some ships tried to run away, but they never got far. "How are you getting inside their ships?" Hannah asked after the 5th attack. "Same way I always did," Taman said as he cleaned his weapons. "Every ship has weak points. Air vents, maintenance, hatches, emergency exits. The builders think about keeping enemies out, but they don't think about someone who doesn't care if he gets hurt getting in. You're taking too many risks. The cut on your arm needs stitches. It's fine. It's not fine. None of this is fine." Hannah grabbed his arm and started treating the wound. "You're going to get yourself killed." "Maybe that's the point," Taman said quietly. Hannah stopped working. "What did you say?" "I said maybe that's the point. Maybe I'm supposed to die doing this." "Taman, no, that's not what Myrae would want." "How do you know what she would want?" His voice was angry now. "She's dead, Hannah. Dead because I wasn't there to protect her. Dead because I thought I could be a normal person and live a normal life. She's dead because evil people killed her. That's not your fault, it is my fault. I knew what I was. I knew that people like me don't get to be happy. We don't get to have families and grow crops and pretend we're normal." He pulled his arm away from her. "I tried to be something I wasn't, and the woman I loved paid the price." Hannah looked at him for a long moment. Then she said something that surprised him. "You're right. You're right. People like you don't get to be normal. But you know what? Myrae knew that too. She knew exactly what you were when she fell in love with you." Taman was quiet. "She didn't love you despite being a killer, Taman. She loved you because you were a killer who chose to be something better. She saw the monster you could be, and she loved the man you decided to become. And now that man is dead too?" "No," Hannah said firmly. "He's not dead. He's just sleeping. And when this is over, when you've made the people who hurt her pay, he'll wake up again. Because that's what love does. It doesn't die just because the person is gone." Taman stared at her. For a moment, something human flickered in his eyes. Then his computer beeped. "Incoming transmission," it announced. The screen showed a Corvani face. It was Commander Vextar. His yellow eyes were filled with rage and fear. "Human," he snarled. "I know you can hear me. Stop hiding in the shadows like a coward. Come and face me." Taman leaned forward. He spoke. His voice was very calm. "I'm coming for you. Good. I'll be waiting on the Iron Claw. Let's finish this." The transmission ended. Taman stood up and started putting on his weapons. "That's the ship," he told Hannah. "It's where they killed her." "How do you know?" "I can hear it in his voice. He's the one." Taman picked up his rifle and checked the ammunition. It's the one who pulled the trigger. "Taman, wait. That ship has over 1,000 soldiers on it." "It's suicide, probably," he agreed. "But I made a promise to my wife. I told her I would always protect her. I failed once. I won't fail again." He walked toward the airlock then, stopped and looked back at Hannah. "Thank you," he said, "for reminding me who I used to be. But that person can't do what needs to be done now." "And what needs to be done?" Taman's eyes went cold again. "Everything that lives on that ship needs to die. Every single thing." As the silent death moved toward the enemy flagship, Hannah realized she was about to see the Reaper unleashed at full power, and she was terrified of what that might look like. Commander Vextar stood on the bridge of the Iron Claw and watched his fleet disappear. On the big screen in front of him, red dots showed where his ships should be. But one by one, they were going dark. "Report," he growled to his communications. "Officer," a smaller Corvani with nervous yellow eyes. "Sir, we've lost contact with 12 more ships in the past 2 days. That makes 18 total." 18 ships, Vextar repeated. His claws scraped against the metal railing. "How many crew members is that?" "Over 7,000 soldiers, sir." The bridge went very quiet. Every Corvani on the ship had heard the reports. Their people were dying, and they didn't know how to stop it. "What do our scouts say?" Vexstar asked. "The ships are all intact, sir. No damage from weapons. No signs of battle. But everyone inside is ... The officer's voice shook. "Everyone is dead." General Mordock walked onto the bridge. It was the biggest. Corvani on the ship, with scars covering his green scales. He had fought in 100 battles and never shown fear. But now his yellow eyes looked worried. "Commander," he said, "we need to talk." They walked to a private room behind the bridge. General Mordock closed the door and activated a device that would keep anyone from listening to their conversation. "This has to stop," the general said. "I know," Vexstar replied. "But how do we fight something we cannot see? Show me the recordings again." Vexstar pulled out a datapad and pressed some buttons. Video started playing. It showed the inside of one of their destroyed ships. The hallways were full of dead Corvani soldiers. But there was something strange about how they died. "Look at this." Vexstar pointed to the screen. "These soldiers were killed with their own weapons. These ones died from blade cuts, but we found no enemy blades. And these," he pointed to another group of bodies. "These ones just seem to have fallen asleep and never woke up. How is that possible? I don't know. Look at this part." The video showed a security room. On the floor was a dead Corvani officer. On the wall behind him, written in green blood, were words in the human language. "What does it say?" General Mordock asked. "For Murray, Vexstar read." Vexstar read. The same message. "We found on 6 other ships." General Mordock was quiet for a moment. "Who is Murray?" "I think." Vexstar paused. "I think it was the human female we captured 3 weeks ago. The diplomat. The one you killed? Yes. You think this is about her?" Vexstar nodded slowly. "The attack started right after news of her death reached human space. Someone is hunting us because we killed her." General Mordock laughed, but it sounded nervous. "One human? You think one human is destroying our entire fleet? I know how it sounds, but think about it. Humans are weak, yes. They are soft and slow and emotional. But what if ... What if some of them are different?" The general stopped laughing. "Different how?" "During the war with the Thackerone, we heard stories. Stories about a human who could destroy entire armies by himself. They called him many names. The Shadow Walker, the Silent Death. But the most common name was ... Vexstar's voice got quieter. The Reaper. Those were just stories. Propaganda to scare enemy soldiers, were they?" Vexstar pulled up more data on his pad. "Look at this. After the Battle of Kepler Station, 10,000 Thackerone soldiers were found dead. No explosions, no battle damage, just dead. All of them. General." Mordock read the report. His face went pale. "The official report says it was a computer virus," Vexstar continued. "But computer viruses don't leave blade marks on walls. They don't write messages in enemy blood. You think the Reaper is real? I think the human female we killed was married to someone very dangerous, and now he's coming for us." On the bridge, alarms started ringing. The communications officer was shouting into his radio. "What's happening?" General Mordock demanded. As they ran back to the bridge, "Sir, 3 more ships just went dark? All at the same time? They were traveling together in formation. How many crew?" 1,500 soldiers, sir." Vexstar felt something cold in his stomach. 3 ships at once meant their enemy was getting bolder. Maybe he was just getting closer. "Sir," another officer called out. "We're receiving a transmission. It's from one of the dead ships. That's impossible. Dead ships don't send transmissions. It's coming from the Razorfang, sir. The ship went dark 20 minutes ago. Put it." On screen, the main display flickered and showed the inside of a Corvani ship. But everything was wrong. The lights were dim and red. Bodies lay everywhere. The walls were covered in burn marks and strange scratches. In the center of the screen stood a human. He was not very tall, but something about him made everyone on. The bridge stepped backward. He wore black armor that seemed to absorb light. His face was painted with dark stripes. His eyes were empty and cold. In his hands, he held a Corvani head. "My name is Kong Temin," the human said. His voice was calm and quiet. "You killed my wife. Her name was Han Murray." He threw the head at the camera. It bounced off and rolled away. For 3 weeks you tortured her. You asked her questions she could not answer. You hurt her because you enjoyed hurting people weaker than you. The human walked closer to the camera. Now they could see his face clearly. Several Corvani on the bridge made scared noises. She told you someone would come for her. She believed in me even when you were killing her. I let her down. Once, I will not let her down again. He picked up another object from the floor. It was a Corvani weapon, but it was broken in half. I have killed 2,300 of your soldiers in the past week. But that's not enough. Not nearly enough. Behind him, something moved in the shadows. More humans, all wearing the same black armor.
Oh!
Wait, General Mordock whispered. He's not alone. You thought I was one person, Taman said, as if he could hear them. You were wrong. I am many people. I am every human who ever lost someone they loved. I am every parent who watched their children die. I am every soldier who came home too. Find their family gone, the other humans stepped into the light. There were 6 of them, all armed, all deadly. We are coming for your flagship now, Taman said. We are coming for every ship in your fleet. And when we are done, the galaxy will know what happens to people who hurt our families. The screen went black. The bridge was completely silent. Even the alarms had stopped ringing. Sir, the communications officer said in a very small voice. What are your orders? Before Vextar could answer, more alarms started going off. Red lights flashed everywhere, multiple contacts approaching. Someone shouted. Small ships, very fast. How many? General Mordock demanded. I can't tell, sir. They keep appearing and disappearing from our sensors. That's impossible. They're not attacking us. They're attacking the ships around us. On the screen, they could see explosions in the distance. Their escort ships were being destroyed one by one.
Oh.
But they couldn't see what was attacking them. Return fire, Vextar ordered. Sir, we can't target them. Our weapons keep missing. And fire at everything. Fill space with plasma. The iron. Claw's guns started shooting in all directions. Bright bolts of energy lit up the dark space around them, but their enemies were like ghosts. Every time the Corvani thought they had a target, it disappeared. Sir, we're receiving another transmission. Put it through. This time, it was Dr. Hannah's voice. She sounded calm and professional. Commander Vextar, this is Dr. Yoon Hana of the Human Defense Fleet. I am authorized to offer you terms for surrender. Surrender, Vextar snarled. Never, Commander. You have lost 26 ships and over 8,000 soldiers. Your remaining ships are outnumbered and outmatched. If you surrender now, we will accept your unconditional no. Vextar smashed his fist on the communication panel. We are Corvani. We do not surrender to inferior species. There was a pause. Then Hannah's voice came back, but now it sounded sad. I was afraid you would say that. Agent Reaper, you are cleared for final assault? The transmission ended. General Mordock looked at Vextar with horror. You fool. Do you know what you just did? Saved our honor? You killed us all? The lights on the bridge suddenly went out. Emergency power came on, casting everything in red light. In the distance, they could hear sounds. Metal breaking. Explosions. Screaming, sir. The communications officer whispered. Something just docked with our ship. We're Cargo Bay 7. But, sir, there's nothing on our sensors. It appeared out of nowhere. More sounds echoed through the ship. Closer now. The sound of weapons firing. The sound of soldiers dying. How many humans are on this ship? General Mordock asked. The officer checked his instruments. Sensor show. ... 1, sir. Just 1. That's impossible. It sounds like an army. Sir, whatever's down there is moving very fast. It's like ... like it's everywhere at once. Vextar walked to the weapons locker and took out his best gun. Around him, other officers were doing the same thing. All soldiers report to the bridge, he ordered. We make our stand here. Sir? Someone called out. The lifts have stopped working, and the blast doors are sealing themselves. What do you mean? I mean we're trapped, sir? Whatever's on this ship has taken control of our systems? The sounds were getting closer. Now they could hear individual voices screaming. Corvani voices, calling for help that would never come. How long until it reaches us? Vextar asked. The officer was typing frantically on his console. At this rate, maybe 10 minutes, sir? General Mordock sat down heavily in a chair.
That's
10 minutes to live. We can still fight, Vexter said. We are warriors. We do not go quietly against the Reaper. The general laughed bitterly. Commander, we just learned that the monsters our children fear in bedtime stories are real, and one of them is coming to kill us. Screaming stopped. The ship became very quiet. Sir, the officer whispered. It's at the bridge entrance. They could hear something on the other side of the blast door. Scratching, cutting. The door was 10 inches of solid metal. But somehow it was being opened. Sparks flew as a blade cut through the metal. Then another blade. Then another. Someone was cutting the door apart piece by piece. How many weapons does he have? Someone asked. All of them, General Mordock said quietly. He has all of them. The cutting stopped. The bridge was silent, except for the sound of their own breathing. Then a voice came through the door. Cold, calm, terrible. Commander Vextar. You killed my wife. Now I'm going to kill you. The blast door exploded inward. Smoke filled the bridge of the Iron Claw. Through the hole where the blast door used to be, a figure walked in slowly. Kung Taemin looked smaller than the Corvain had expected. He was covered in green blood that was not his own. His black armor was scratched and dented, but his eyes were like looking into empty space. Commander Vextar raised his weapon and fired. The plasma bolt should have burned a hole through the human's chest. Instead, Taemin moved to the side so fast, he seemed to disappear. The bolt hit the wall behind him. Impossible, Vextar whispered. Taemin tilted his head like he was studying an interesting insect. You talk too much. He moved again. This time, none of the Corvani could follow his movement. One moment, he was by the door. The next moment, he was standing next to a bridge officer. The officer looked down to see a knife sticking out of his chest. He fell to the floor. How? General Mordock gasped. Practice, Taemin said simply. The remaining officers opened fire. Plasma bolts filled the air like deadly rain. But hitting Taemin was like trying to hit a shadow. He moved between the shots, never in the same place twice. Each time he stopped moving, another Corvani died. In 30 seconds, only Vextar and General Mordock were left alive. Tim stood in the center of the bridge, not even breathing hard. Around him lay the bodies of a dozen elite soldiers. The most feared warriors in the Corvani Empire, dead in half a minute. Return, Taemin said to Vextar. The commander threw down his weapon. Wait, I can give you information. I know where other human prisoners are being held. There are no other human prisoners, Taemin said. I already checked your databases. My wife was the only one. Then what do you want? I want you to understand something before you die. Taemin walked closer. Humans are not weak because we love each other. We are strong because we love each other. When you hurt one of us, you hurt all of us. Please, Vextar begged. I was following orders. The Empire commanded me to. The Empire didn't pull the trigger, Taemin said. You did. You looked at my wife and decided she should die. That was your choice. He grabbed Vextar by the throat and lifted him off the ground. The Corvani was twice his size, but Taemin held him like he weighed nothing. She told you someone would come for her, Taemin said quietly. She was right. Wait, General Mordock shouted. Kill me instead. I gave the orders. I'm the one responsible. Taemin looked at him. You'll get your turn, but he goes first. He's the one who hurt her. Vextar tried to speak, but Taemin's grip was too tight. The commander's yellow eyes bulged. His claws scraped uselessly at the human's armor. Gosh, this is for Murray, Taemin said. He squeezed. Vextar's neck broke with a sound like a branch snapping. General Mordock watched his commander die and felt something he had never felt before. Not just fear. Terror so deep it made his whole body shake. Your turn, Taemin said, dropping Vextar's body. Oh wait, the general said. I have something to offer you. I'm listening. Peace. I can give you peace between our species. Taemin laughed, but it was not a happy sound. Peace. You destroyed a diplomatic ship. You tortured and killed a woman who came to talk about peace. Why would I trust you? Because I have the authority to speak for the Empire? One can order all. Corvani forces to withdraw from human space. We can sign a treaty. No more war. No more killing. All I have to do is let you live. Yes. Taman thought about this for a moment. Tell me about the treaty. General Mordock felt hope growing in his chest.
Maybe he could survive this after all.
We will withdraw from all systems claimed by humans. We will pay compensation for the diplomatic ship and ... and for your wife. We will establish trade agreements. Our species can learn from each other. Interesting, Taman said. And what guarantees do I have that you'll keep this treaty? A word. As a Corvani warrior, your word. Taman nodded slowly. The same word you gave when you agreed to meet with our diplomats? The same word you gave when you promised safe passage for the peace mission? General Mordock's hope died. Here's my counteroffer, Taman said. You can send a message to your empire. Tell them that humans are not weak. Tell them that we have weapons they cannot imagine. Tell them that if they ever threaten us again, I will come for them, all of them. And then you'll let me go? No, Taman said. But then I'll kill you quickly instead of slowly. The general raised his weapon, knowing it was useless. At least tell me why. Why is one human worth all this death? Taman paused. For a moment, something human flickered in his cold eyes. Because she was everything good in the universe, he said quietly. She was kind to people who didn't deserve it. She helped heal soldiers who had done terrible things. She saw the monster I was and loved me anyway. Then why become a monster again? Because sometimes monsters are necessary. Sometimes the only way to protect good people is to become something evil. General Mordock fired his weapon. The plasma bolt hit Taman in the chest, burning through his armor. The human staggered but did not fall. That hurt, Taman said. He looked down at the smoking hole in his armor. But not as much as losing her hurt. He grabbed the general's gun and crushed it in his bare hands. Then he grabbed the general. Please, Mordock whispered. I have a family too. Children who. So did the people on the diplomatic ship, Taman said. So did my wife. The general died quickly. Taman kept his promise about that. When it was over, Taman stood alone on the bridge of the Iron Claw. Around him lay the bodies of his enemies. Outside the windows, he could see the wreckage of the Corvani fleet floating in space. 26 ships destroyed, over 8,000 soldiers dead, an entire fleet wiped out by one man who loved his wife. He activated the bridge communication system and sent a message on all frequencies. It would reach every Corvani ship in the galaxy. This is Kong Temin, also known as the Reaper. Your fleet is destroyed. Your commanders are dead. I am sending you the location of this battle and images of what happened here. Uploaded files showing the destroyed ships and dead soldiers. Let this be a lesson to your empire and any other. Species that thinks humans are weak, we are not weak. We're not defenseless. And we do not forgive those who hurt our families. He paused, thinking of Myray. The woman you killed was named Han Myray. She was a scientist and a diplomat. She was trying to make peace between our species. She was the best of humanity, and you destroyed her because you could. His voice got colder. I am the worst of humanity. I am what we become when you push us too far. Remember this day, remember. What happens when you mistake our kindness for weakness? He ended the transmission and walked off the bridge. Dr. Hannah was waiting for him in the docking bay. She had a medical kit ready and was preparing to treat his wounds. Is it over? She asked. It's over, Taman said. He sat down heavily on a cargo box. Now that the fighting was done, he looked tired. Very tired. How do you feel? Taman thought. About the question. Empty. Like I used up everything inside me and now there's nothing left. Hannah began cleaning the burn on his chest. That's normal. After the war you felt the same way? But it got better. You found Myray and she helped you heal. Myray is gone. Yes. But the love you had for her isn't gone. It's still inside. You. And someday, when you're ready, it will help you heal again. I don't want to heal. I want to hurt, I know. But that's not what she would want for you. They sat in silence for a while as Hannah worked on his injuries. Finally, Taman spoke. What happens now? Now we go home? You've sent a message to the galaxy that humanity is not to be messed with. Every species will think twice before threatening. Us and me. What do I do? Whatever you want. You'd go back to farming. You could join the military again. You could do something completely different. Taman looked out the window at the stars. Somewhere out there was New Soul Colony. His farm, the house he had shared with Murray, the life they had built together. I think, he said slowly, I want to go home. To the farm.
Yes.
I want to finish the rice harvest. Murray was excited about it. She said this year's crop would be the best we ever grew. Hannah smiled. That sounds like a good place to start. 3 months later, news of the Battle of Vex system had spread across the galaxy. Every species had heard the story of the human who destroyed an entire fleet to avenge his wife. Some called it a legend. Others called it a warning. The Corvani Empire signed a peace treaty with humanity the very next week. They agreed to all human demands and paid enormous compensation to the families of everyone killed in their attacks. They also established a new rule. No Corvani ship was allowed to attack human vessels under any circumstances. Other alien species took note. Humanity had shown they could be peaceful, but they had also shown what happened to those who mistook peace for weakness. A new soul colony, Kong Taman harvested his rice. It was indeed the best crop he had ever grown, sold most of it, but kept some to make into wine. Murray had always loved rice wine. He visited her memorial every day and told her about the farm, about the weather, about the birds that nested in their trees. He told her about the justice he had brought to her. Killers, but mostly he talked about normal things. Happy things. Dr. Hannah visited him often. She was worried about him living alone, but slowly he seemed to be healing. The cold emptiness in his eyes was gradually being replaced by something warmer. One evening, as he sat on his porch watching the sunset, Taman felt something he hadn't felt in months. Peace. Not the peace of death or revenge, but the peace of a man who had done what needed to be done and could now rest. I kept my promise, he said to the sky, where he imagined Murray could hear him. I made them pay for what they did to you. And now I'm trying to learn how to live without you. The wind blew through his rice fields, making a soft sound like whispered words. Like someone saying I love you from very far away. Taman smiled. It was the first real smile he had made since the day he learned of his wife's death. The reaper was sleeping again, and in his place sat a man who grew rice, and remembered love, and knew that even in the darkest times, there was still beauty in the world. But across the galaxy, parents told their children stories about the human who loved his wife so much that he became death itself to avenge her. And when those children grew up and became leaders, they remembered those stories. They remembered that humans were not weak. They remembered that love could be the most dangerous weapon in the universe. And they were very, very careful never to test that weapon again.